Hello, my name is Ali, and welcome to my channel. We are back with Hakuoki Kyoto wins, Yamazaki's route. Now, first and foremost, I'm so sorry if my voice does not sound great. I had like a bilateral ear infection and a lot of other crap going on, so I sound really congested, but I did want to record. Also, if you hear the fan in the background, I need it on. It's hot as hell, and I live in Texas, and it's hot, so yeah. Let's just go. The thought to correct him crossed my mind, but instead I stayed silent as I passed the tea out.
Thank you, Yukimura. I felt bad asking you to do this.
Oh, it's nothing. After all, I am Hijikata's page. I spoke barely above a whisper, but Inoue smiled. Oh, sorry, and I hiccuped, and nodded at me, and hiccuped too. Okita took a sip of his tea, and a mild grimace flickered across his face. Is something wrong with the tea?
The taste is fine, but it could be a little hotter. Maybe you're taking too long to pour it. But I guess I can't expect this from you.
I'm sorry. I'll make a new batch right now.
Don't worry about it. I like it lukewarm. I can drink it immediately. Right, Hajime?
Sure, right. I guess lukewarm tea isn't bad on a hot day like today. It was silent for a second before the door slid open and Kondo arrived with a stern look on his face.
The Shinsengumi have received an official request from the Aizu domain. All available soldiers must begin preparations to move out immediately. Yeah! It seems the Aizu have finally noticed all the hard work we've been doing, men.
He looked just as happy with the news as the rest of them. Apparently getting orders directly from the Aizu domain was an occasion for some excitement. Hijikata, however, was the lone exception.
We don't have time for this shit. Stop patting each other on the back and get moving. We need to go now. The Choshu are already in Kyoto. We can't let them gain the upper hand on us.
As Hijikata rebuked the men, the warriors all scattered sequentially to their stations. When it was only the captains and myself remaining in the room, Hijikata vented.
What? So only when the Choshu attack Kyoto is everyone ready to go? This is bullshit.
Thinking back at what happened at Ikeda Inn, while the Shinsengumi were fighting hard, the Aizu domain was elsewhere, and came strolling in later at the scene. Remembering that incident, I feel like I can understand Hijikata at least to some extent.
Okita and Todo, you will remain at headquarters. I doubt you'll like it, but, well, neither do I. Your injuries keep you from active duty, as do mine.
He rubbed his left arm absently and looked away.
Hey, speak for yourself. It's not like my injuries didn't recover or something. But I guess I'm not at 100% either, so if you're telling me to sit this one out, I will.
You're making a big deal out of nothing. This is just a scratch. Kondo's being a wuss.
Okita acted as if he didn't hear Sanan at all, while Heisuke pouted.
You sure about that? All last night you were crying like a baby.
You son of a bitch. Why you gotta rat me out? Is there even a heart in there, you old bastard?
But you did scream like a baby though, right? Right, Chizuru?
Hey, don't ask her. It'd be nice if you could keep your mouth shut for once, you know.
He glanced sideways at me. But Heisuke, it's true that your injury hasn't recovered. His bangs hid the scar rather well, but it still looked painful. Nagakura broke the awkward silence.
Oh yeah, Chizuru, you said you wanted to go with us if we got called in, right? You still up for it?
Even though I'd told Harada that I was into the idea of joining them, it still seemed a little risky.
Ah, yes, well, I see no reason why not. After all, opportunities like this are seldom seen.
For some reason, Kondo was easy to convince. I wasn't expecting him to be so easily swayed.
What the hell? If she's tagging along, maybe it'd be a good idea for me to come too, right?
You're still all out of shape though, right? You stay behind at the compound. Ah, that's awesome, Chizuru.
Are you sure it'll be alright? Hijikata and Sanan sighed at the sight of my reservations, which was understandable.
We can't promise you won't get hurt or worse. You should stay here.
Do you wish to place undue burden on the Shinsengumi? We are not here to entertain you.
Colonel Sanan, can I take that to mean, so long as she is not a burden, she is free to accompany us?
I blinked. Saito standing up for me? Sanan seemed nearly as surprised as I was.
You can't be saying you're actually in favor of bringing her along.
Saito simply shrugged.
She was an asset at Ikeda. I only intended to point out that, judged by her actions, she has hardly proven to be a burden.
Never in a million years would I have imagined that Saito might have a word of praise for me. My eyes grew wide with elation, and Kando nodded in agreement.
Excellent. I will take full responsibility for your inclusion. That is, of course, if you still wish to participate.
Sanan still didn't seem convinced. I looked around the room until my eyes met Okita's.
Do whatever you want to do, so long as you get that we're going to a battle, not a party.
It looked like I wasn't about to get any help from Okita, who looked unplussed either way. Perhaps I'd be able to help them out, like I had during the Battle of Ikeda Inn. I nodded. Yes, I would like to participate. After that, everything was a blur. As quickly as we could, we prepared for battle and marched to the Fushimi Magistrate's office. There were a number of Kyoto Judiciary Commissioner's men gathered there as well, in preparation for the battle with the Choshu. Walking proudly in front of the men, Kando approached the government official near the gate.
We, the Shinsengumi, are reporting as requested by Lord Katamori Matsudaira, the Lieutenant General of the Aizu.
Katamori Matsudaira was the lord of the Aizu domain and also the Kyoto Military Commissioner, which made him a very important person. His name would have been immediately recognized. The man standing near the gate looked lightly taken aback by the mention of the Shinsengumi.
You were told to report here, but we received no such orders.
No, that didn't make any sense. What? Perhaps sensing my confusion, Saito leaned over and whispered under his breath.
If they haven't received notice of our orders, lines of communication are likely in disarray.
Do you mean the Choshu is overpowering the shogunate's forces?
Not necessarily. However, I do suspect the enemy is doing well.
This could be tricky. The Judiciary Commissioner and the Military Commissioner had similar organizations, but they operate very differently. The Military Commissioner's office was under the jurisdiction of the Aizu domain, while the Kuwana domain controlled the Judiciary Commissioner. Oh my god, my nose is so itchy. Anyway, I didn't fully understand the relationships between each domain, but so far as I knew, the Aizu and Kuwana weren't quite fond of one another.
Nonetheless, our assistance has been formally requested. If you could only speak with your It wouldn't make a difference. Now get. We have no use for Mibu's wolves.
How terrible. And after they'd asked the Shinsengumi's help. I felt Harada's hand on my shoulder and turned to look up at him.
Forget about them. This isn't anything to make a fuss about. We get this sort of crap all the time.
But this is so galling. I wasn't truly a member of the Shinsengumi, but even so. After living with the Shinsengumi men and watching how they worked, I couldn't bear to see how they were treated, which is why it felt wrong to me. Everyone in the Shinsengumi has worked so hard to maintain peace in Kyoto. How could these people, who are supposed to be our allies, turn us away without a second thought?
I appreciate the gesture, but I'm gonna need you to toughen up for me if you can. If we throw a fit here, then we might hurt Aizu's reputation. You get it?
Oh. The Kuwana would only need to complain that the Shinsengumi hadn't shown them proper respect to make trouble for the Aizu. All of the men, including Harada, understood what needed to be done, and they endured.
There's nothing we can do here, Chief. We should leave the magistrate alone and meet with the Aizu Domain's men on our own.
Saito's suggestion to Kondo was rudely interrupted by Takeda.
Us? Leave? What's the point of ignoring a military command in the battlefield? Chief, everyone knows that messengers get delayed during war. Leaving now would be foolish. I think we should remain here on standby. If this location were a camp to which we were stationed, then maybe you'd be making sense. Unfortunately, it is not, and it would be wise for us to act in the best interest of the Shinsengumi. Do you dare oppose my opinion? An opinion, mind you, from the Shinsengumi's war counselor? Cool it. Saito brings up a good point.
Kondo nodded deeply as he glanced at Saito.
We, the Shinsengumi, will officially look for the camp that military commissioner is constructing.
My nose. And with that, the Shinsengumi set off to find the soldiers of the Aizu domain. Night had fallen by the time we arrived at Kujo Beach. After leaving the Fushimi magistrate's office, we made for the Aizu Manor. Upon arriving, we relayed our previous encounter and asked for new orders. The manor official we met with directed us to go to Kujo Beach, which we did. However...
What? The Shinsengumi is to join us? We've received no such orders. I apologize, but could you speak with the commander at the man...
Nagakura seemed to tolerate no more of this.
What the hell? He was the one who told us to come here. You want to fuck us over? Fine. But you're going to be disobeying a direct order from your superior, pal. You really want to do that? Please, calm down. I didn't know what you...
The man flinched and shivered, then fell silent. Kondo did his best to assume a professional air, but there was no hiding his massive grin.
I would like to speak to your commanding officer. Do you think you might be able to take me to him?
At last, after a great deal of trouble, we were allowed to remain with the troops at Kujo Beach. The chief and the captains left the rest of us to speak with the Aizu commanders. They returned some time later, looking tired and drained. Inoue, who'd gone with them, also wore a bitter sort of half-smile.
Well, it would seem that the men stationed here are reserves and not the main force of their army. Their main force had been committed to the defense of Hamagiri Gate.
They're treating the Shinsengumi like reserves?
Then why the hell did they send us a message acting like this was some sort of emergency? We can't predict what might happen. Battle may soon approach us. There is little to do but wait.
So all we can do is wait. There was a chance that the call could come at night, so the men stayed awake, ready to act.
Just let us know if you need to rest a bit, Chizuru. You're always welcome to sleep on my lap.
Oh, no, I'm fine. Harada laughed as I shook my head. It wouldn't be fair for me to be the one to sleep. The men had to remain alert, anticipating that they could face death at any moment. Anxiety wrapped around me until I slept near dawn. The men, however, were vigilant through the night. Even as I drifted in and out of consciousness, I could see them nearby, persisting against the night. The break of dawn burned my eyes as I heard it. A cannon? The crack of a gunshot tore through the morning air, and in the distance I heard men shouting and the clang of metal. The fighting had begun. The captains looked at one another and nodded.
It's time we left.
I stared at him for a moment, perhaps not yet fully awake, until I understood what he was saying. Right. With a quick nod, I readied myself to go. Then...
Stop! What do you think you're doing? We were ordered to stay here. Did you just tell me to stop?
Even during our lengthy march the day before, I'd never seen Hidikata mad. Maybe because of his position as commander, he was afraid to express himself with when his temper flared up, but it looked as if he reached his limit. Normally, he left the yelling to Nagakira and stayed patient when speaking with army officials. This time, however, he finally had enough.
I thought your job here was to protect the imperial estate, but you'd rather sit on your fat ass? We're here to stop those Choshu assholes from attacking. Tell me, what are the Choshu doing? But we haven't received any orders.
Hijikata was in no mood for excuses.
If you got any kind of pride in your job, then forget your orders and move.
Urgh. Without even waiting for a response, Hijikata spun around and stalked off fuming. Where are we going? I didn't dare raise my voice above a whisper, but I asked Saito, who was walking near me. To the enemy, which, in this case, means Hamagiri Gate. Hamagiri Gate? You mean where Aizu's main force is protecting, right? The battle at the gate is likely to be an intense one. You'd better prepare yourself. All right. Hijikata's fury seemed to rouse the Aizu reserve, who, up to this point, seemed flustered by the threat of conflict, watching the Shinsengumi march. At the end, they follow the Shinsengumi to the Hamagiri Gate. And I am going to let you guys go here. I hope you are enjoying, and I do apologize for the fan in the background and my nasal Nancy voice. But I hope you are enjoying, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!